Hey guys, welcome back. So today we are painting another Stormtrooper helmet to look bronze, like this one. If you can't tell, the metal themes, they are using these helmets for a skate contest. So I'm doing these for Vans, which is pretty cool. And they have bronze, silver, and gold. And this is what the bronze ones are going to look like. It's kind of like a oiled bronze kind of look. I think it came out pretty cool. So I'm going to go over how to do this because this was really quick and very simple. If you're interested, stick around. If not, then get the hell out of here. But anyway, I got two more to do here. And I'm going to start one fresh. And we're basically starting with a base that looks like this. And I explained how I did these initially. And I made a video of it, and it's probably really awkward because I can't remember what I said. So let's cut to that really quick and see how I did the base. This is the past me going to show you the base coat that I used pre-bronze. Here's how I started. All of the helmets I did this black coating on, which is, I used Krylon Fusion black spray paint on the bases of all these helmets. Now, it probably doesn't need this black coat when you see the next step. However, the Krylon Fusion is supposed to be able to bond to plastic well, so I wanted to give a base coat that I knew would stick. And Krylon dries really quickly. Now, I typically don't like to mix paints, but the next step that I did was Rust-Oleum hammered brown, whatever this is. Let's see, it is 210880 brown, and it's just this hammered brown color. They had a bronze there too, but I felt like this cap color kind of like looked more like what I wanted to work with, so I went with this. Again, guys, this is not the way to do it. This is the way that I'm doing it. So if you find a better method, by all means, go that way. This is just what is working for me in this situation. Anyway, started with the black base coat, and the Krylon dries pretty quick, so you could probably go to a Rust-Oleum coat by the end of the day. Whereas you couldn't go the other way. If you did Rust-Oleum first and you went to paint Krylon on top of it, it would probably become a disaster. But Krylon first with a little Rust-Oleum worked well. And this is the brown base coat with this. This is just sprayed right on top. I sprayed it just thick enough to evenly cover the surface. I didn't dust it or do any tricks. I just did a full coverage coat, but not thick. It's like as thin as I could get it and still get the full coverage is what I did. And I mainly did that just for dry time because I needed this to dry as quickly as possible. Anyway, those are the two base coats that I used. So let's move on to the actual painting process. Okay, so hopefully that transition wasn't too weird. I have no idea. But we're starting here. We're back to this base coated brown color. I'm basically using 4 colors to do this whole thing. Black, just acrylic black, cheap acrylic black. I am using a little bronze acrylic paint and a gold acrylic paint. And then like this kind of a seafoam teal color that I'm going to use for my what do you call it, the tarnish areas. So these are the colors I'm going to use. I'm going to do almost all of it with one brush. This helicopter. I don't know if I'll show this at the end, but I started to make this video before, and this helicopter just wouldn't stop flying around. Let's get started here. You got to dry my brush off. It was wet. I really feel like the helicopter's like watching me do stuff. Let's see. I'm going to grab some of these cheapo cups that I've got up here. I'm going to take one. And we're going to throw some black in there. And what I like to do is put the paint sort of on the side of the cup like that. It's a little bit easier to access. I'm going to make sure I've got some napkins around or some paper towels, whatever you want to use. I'll tilt this camera down just a hair. God, I did this backwards. Hold on. Ugh. There we go. And this is helmet stands here. I'm going to do a video on those too because those are pretty cool. So I just get a black on here like this, and I'm just going to hit up all the low spots just like you're doing a weathering pass. Get in all the nooks and crannies. Wipe off some of the excess. And it's like almost like a dry brushed. It's not quite dry, so you're getting a lot of coverage, but I brush it around until my brush starts to dry out. And as it starts to dry, it really will stick to the surface better. Not dry, but it's not, starts to thicken up just a little bit as it dries, and then it starts to grab a little better. So basically, just going on the low spots, hitting these areas up with this black acrylic. I have been using a lot more oil paint lately for my weathering for most things now. I really like it, and I'll do a video on that soon. Got a project coming up. I actually technically have the project on me now, but I won't be able to work on it for about a week and a half. So once I start working on that, I'm going to show some of the other weathering techniques with oil paints. They're actually really overly simple weathering techniques on this other project, but if I haven't told you guys yet, it's probably like 2:45 in the morning right now, and I have to have this done by tomorrow, but I'm on a shoot tomorrow. I get to be a model for some more makeup stuff, which should be pretty fun, but my call time's like 6 a.m., so I just have to have this stuff done. I can't work on it at all in the morning, so I'm trying to finish it up tonight. And then after that, the next day, I go to Savannah, Georgia to speak at SCAD, which is kind of crazy. So I'm still actually putting together my presentation for that. So out of curiosity, this is where you guys can help me out. If there's any questions that you think I should answer or talk about there, let me know. I'll see if I can incorporate something about that into my little demo presentation thing. It's sort of weird. Like, I can answer questions all day long, but just talking about myself in this, like, here's all the things I've done and my achievements in life feels very freaking weird. So I'm not good at that. My wife is helping me write this thing up, which is kind of interesting. I don't know if you guys can see this. Hopefully I've got it on screen enough. So look, I'm only 5 minutes in. I've got a lot of the dark passed down. And this is real loosey-goosey, man. You'll see why. It doesn't matter about any brush strokes or anything. And the drier it gets, the less brush strokes happen. It'll kind of start to look a little more like natural. But I wanted just a real random dark on here, and then especially in the low spots. Now, a lot of times with bronze, what will happen is the low spots will get really, really dark, almost black. It'll have a little bit of brown, which is why I picked this brown base, because even though it looks like I'm putting down a lot of black, there's a little bit of the brown showing through in the darkest areas. So that was important to me. Again, this is just a thing I came up with on the spot. I didn't have any other ideas, except I kind of know what bronze looks like, so I figured here's my plan, and then I'm executing it. So this is not the way to do bronze, it is a way to do bronze, and it's working for me for this project. So take it for what it's worth. If it works for you, or you can modify the technique, or you got other ways to do it, that is great. Now, I could edit this all out, but I think I'm just going to leave it here so you guys can see how long this actually takes. I'm going to do basically this whole thing in real time, minus the base coats. I need a little bit more black on here. You can water the black down a little bit, but what happens is it just tends to bead up on the surface a little bit more, and then it takes longer. But if you do it real heavy and thick like this, give it some wipes around so it's just a little like a messy finish. That tends to help a bit. Just heard a weird noise. It is very late, and I'm in my shop, and the door is hanging wide open. And sometimes cats will come in here and check things out. So I don't know what the deal is actually. So, alright, so now, got our brushed up base pass here. Dark pass. It's kind of an all over, randomized, kind of black pass here. Somewhere around here I've got my water cup. What do I do with it? Oh god, like I said guys, it's really late. And I'm very tired. So I'm going to lightly rinse off this black. It doesn't matter if it's perfect. It's a little bit on there. It's not going to kill anybody. Oops. Get some on the floor. That's good. So now we're going to do the same thing with the bronze pass, which is, I'm just using this brushed metal bronze. It's like, got this stuff at Walmart in the craft section. Grab another one of these little cheapo cups. These little cups are quite handy. Same thing, I'm going to put a big old blob of bronze on the inside there like that. You can see I'm not using too much paint for this whole thing. And then what you do is it's almost, again, like a dry brush technique. My brush is actually a little wet right now, so it's gonna take a little bit longer, but you want to just hit the high spots here. Accentuate what's hot, the high areas. And it's okay right now if there's a little bit of like brush strokes and stuff. They're gonna go away as we knock this stuff into the surface. It'll start to soften up the look, so it won't be so like brushed on looking. Go over all the high areas. Leave the low spots as much as possible to start to accentuate the edges. Same here, here. This is a high area down here. Sorry, I'm trying to keep this on frame while I work. And I'm going to hit these really light because the little trapezoids in the back, I'm not going to paint them in, but I'm going to try to just accent where they're at with the bronze paint. By just lightly brushing over the edge so that the bristles catch the rim of the trapezoid without going into the inside, and you start to get your little trapezoid shapes showing through, which is pretty cool. And you can see again, it's back that thing where as the paint starts to slowly dry up, when you brush it around, the brush strokes start to get softer and softer, sort of disappear into the surface, and it looks a little more natural. And it's okay if there are some brush strokes because it can kind of look like it's got some scuffing. A lot of this bronze work, especially stuff that's being held or touched often, will get a really, really like brassy look at the areas where it gets touched the most or has the most exposure. So that's what we're going to do here. We're kind of brightening it up a little bit. Let's see how long we've been doing this for. It's 11 minutes in. Give me 2 minutes. Let's say we're like about 9 or 10 minutes into the actual paint job. It's going to be very fast. The sooner I get this done, the sooner I can go to bed. Get some sleep. I actually have to go in, before I go to sleep, I have to go in and shave my entire freaking body. Because the makeup I'm going to be in tomorrow is like a full makeup. I'm going to be almost naked. I got to shave everything. It's going to be super cool. It'd be cool if I wasn't so damn sleepy right now. So we're starting to get some bronzy, brassy, bronzy looks. Alternate the angles here. Again, hitting the high areas. It's already starting to look a little more bronzy than before. I love the Stormtrooper face has so many good shapes on it. Alright, so now we've got some bronzy finish here. It's looking pretty cool. It's getting bronzier and bronzier. So now what we're going to do we're going to use the gold. Now this is not too bright gold. It's kind of yellowish. And I'm going to just use the same cup here and put some on the opposite side of the cup. So it's like kind of like a palette. And then I'm going to dry this one out a little bit. So as I brush this on, I'm not going to go quite as wet at first. And then the same thing. I'm just going to hit the very highest high spots real lightly. This just is going to help pop up the contours a little bit more than just the bronze does on its own. I think it's a pretty nice little mix. And I'm really kind of just dry brushing the edges here. I'm not going very wet with this stuff at all. It barely, like on camera, it's just enough of a difference on those areas. You can see where the ridge of the nose, it kind of just lifts it up a little bit more. You don't want to go too heavy on this, and I reserve this for like the most outside areas that would get, you know, bumped or touched. If this was like a bronze statue, you can see a little bit there. It's starting to look pretty cool. Hit this side up. I actually just went a little bit strong on that, so I'm going to wipe a bit here with my paper towel. I'm going to dab it off so it's not totally dry, and then I'm just going to soften all the little lines just a bit. And doing this, I'm adding a little bit to the edges, but it's basically catching that front lip there just a little bit. And back to this thing, I always say this, but with Stormtroopers, to me, since I was a child, this has always been the mouth. This is not a frown or a mouth. I fucking hate that. Pardon my language, but god damn it, it makes me, ugh. It's never looked like a mouth to me, ever. Ever. Not since forever. It's ridiculous. What the hell is this? This is where the mouth is. This is like a nose area. I understand it's got a grill on it, but it doesn't make it teeth, okay? It's just not. God, man. I don't care what anybody says. They can have a different opinion, but they're freaking wrong. Anyway, back to painting. So, hitting up some of these light areas. Make sure it's nice and randomized. And cool looking. Man, everybody writes me. I'm just getting messages right now. And everybody keeps calling the freaking spray chrome hydrochrome. And it makes me nuts. Because hydrochrome is not what that stuff is. Hydrochrome is a brand. And that is, you know, the technique of doing spray chrome, or spray silver is actually the more appropriate name for it. Is the proper way to say it. Spray chrome or spray silver. Spray chrome's a little easier for people to get because they associate it with the chroming stuff. How'd you do the chrome? Spray chrome. But when people say hydrochrome, that's not what I'm using. That is a brand. There's nothing wrong with it, but I just don't use that. So when you say hydrochrome, it's like, you know, instead of saying, give me a tissue, it's saying, give me a Kleenex. I don't give a damn what that tissue is. I'm going to call it a Kleenex. And so people like to say hydrochrome. It is not hydrochrome. You can tell I'm a little ornery right now because it's too late. It's too freaking late. Okay, so anyway, I think we're almost good with this pass. Getting a little too crazy here. Let me just soften this up a tad and we'll move on to the next little bit. Get a little on these cheeks. I didn't get this area here. There we go. Yeah, this one's looking pretty cool. What's kind of cool is each one of these looks a little bit different because they're all like hand done and cool. So, I feel like this one, my brush strokes are a little too defined here. I need to just soften it up just a tad. Actually, I'm going to hit the bronze up again, which is in the same cup. Just a little bit of bronze. Just to maybe like soften up my lines a tad bit. So a little less brush strokey. I've been going a little too fast. Alright, so here's our basic bronze look. Now the darks are going to be a little more defined after we get in here and weather it up. What did I do with the other one? Let's take a look at the one that I already did. So here's the other one. You see it's pretty close look. They don't have to be the same. They just got to be roughly the same. Alright, so I'm putting this paint down. We're not going to use that anymore. And now we're going to take out our teal paint. So it's teal. What is it? What the hell color is this? Shit, I don't know. All-purpose water-based fast drying. I don't remember. It's basically like a teal color. It looks slightly a little more green than teal. This might be like a seafoam. I can't remember. I'm just gonna use it right out of the bottle. I don't think I'm gonna mix this with anything. So doing the same thing. I'm taking little dots of this paint and I'm going to stick it in undercuts where it's already dark. I just want to get some of this in there to kind of look like some patina on the bronze. And hit these areas that are, you know, the least touched spots would have this kind of built up a little bit. And then get my tissue and just bump it just to get rid of some of the excess. And a lot of times the patinas have you know, like sharp edges, and they kind of will drip a little bit. So I'm gonna get all the screws under the sides here, on the ear pieces. Again, just give a quick little wipe. It's real subtle. I don't want it to be crazy patinaed. Like sometimes you'll see copper or bronze, and it'll have like a ton of like this greenish tinge to it. I like this color. My grandmother had some furniture this color when I was a kid. And I always dug it. She had this big, like one of those desks that opens up. You sit down there and pop it open and do your bills or whatever. So anyway, when you put this down, you don't have to be scared to like go too heavy because you can always wipe it back a little bit. And I'm going to get it here in the little grill. So it's just in there. It looks like a little strong, so I'm going to wipe off a little bit more. I like it under the eyes a little bit. Ooh, that was a lot. Some random little hits here and there, and just sort of tap it off the surface so it's not too strong. Actually kind of looks pretty cool. Now, this stuff dries like a little bit chalky, but we are gonna fix that in post. I'll show you what we're gonna do. So yeah, I'm just gonna get it all in this grill here in the front. I think is an important spot for it. And we're gonna wipe off some of it because you kind of want this to be over the black. So when you see this kind of patina in person, it'll be in the low areas where it's also spots that are dark, especially on bronze. They're not polished, and they also end up with a little bit of the corrosion happening. So yeah, super quickie once over. It's so crazy how much greener that looks on camera than it does in person. But I think it'll be fine. Hit it up. Wipe off what you can. Just a little excess here and there. It almost gives it like a kind of steampunk vibe to do this. we go. Got some patina action happening. I'm gonna get some random hits, probably up where these little aerators are too, or the mic tips. We'll probably have some back behind there, so I'm gonna throw some in the holes so that when the mic tips are in, we got a little bit of patina action happening. Hit up the trapezoids in the back, and just lightly dust around. A couple random spots here and there on the surface don't hurt. I actually will add some of this kind of weird green color, even if I'm doing aluminum stuff sometimes and I need it to look aged. I'll add some weird colors in the weathering, just because it adds to it. It feels a little more realistic. So this one might be pretty good here. So now what we're gonna do, let this dry for a minute. It dries really fast. Like I haven't had to do too much to this. All right. So we're just gonna leave it like this. I think that I'm gonna call it on this one. So that was 26 minutes that I've been on camera. We're gonna do one more step. All right, set that down. This is where we're at now. The greens look a little exaggerated, especially on camera. I think because the light is coming directly in and hitting the greens, but they are definitely not that bright in person. So there's our basic helmet. This stuff dries really fast. So the next thing we're going to do is we are going to give it a varnish coat with Liquitex gloss varnish. And that is going to take these colors, which look okay on camera, but a little chalky, and make it like this. So it's like a little bit richer, but these are the same basic colors and everything. But this one has been coated with the Liquitex. So it gives it like a nice little sheen on the surface. And it sort of unifies a little better. It makes all that dark stuff that we put in at the very beginning look a little more rich. When we do the gloss varnish, set this down for a second, dig out my brush. When we do the gloss varnish, we want a broad, flat brush. So we got a varnish brush. This is about the size I use. This is about, what is that? Inch, maybe 3/4 of an inch. Inch varnish brush. And I just take some of this and use one of our trusty little cups here. You get a ton of these cups for so cheap, so I use them for all kinds of stuff. And then once they dry, I'll use them again with acrylics because it doesn't really matter. So I just put a little bit at the bottom. There's no need to go crazy. I can always add more to the cup. Some people will just fill these cups up and then there's a bunch of leftover, and that's sad. So now we just take this thing, get our clear varnish, and with this stuff you just do like, you know, a gentle coat over the whole thing, just nice and thin. And I don't know how it shows up in camera, but you can see pretty easily where you've been. Once you have it in person, you can just see that wet look on the top, and that's all you want. And just go over it. It really only needs one coat. This is more to again, richen up the colors more than protect anything. This is just to make the colors pop a little bit better, make them feel more rich. So you can already see here the varnish itself has a little bit of reflective quality that I think enhances the look of the bronze. So I'm just going around and I'm looking for spots that look dry. Taking some of this excess here and moving it to where it needs to go. So you can see it's already looking more metallic just by shining it up a bit. So again, I'm just going to go do a really quick pass here. So, if you see this, if I post this before the weekend, which I'm going to try to do, on May the 4th, on Saturday, there's the Vans skate competition. If you look it up, you might be able to see my helmets over there. They're not my helmets. I didn't make the helmets, guys. These came from Trooper Bay, I believe. So, if you want these Stormtrooper helmets, Trooper Bay is where they're from. And I had to assemble 13 of them. It was a bit ridiculous. Assembled 13 helmets. Still stuff to put together on the bronze ones here. I got 2 left that still need some of the trim details put back on, and the lenses, and all that jazz. So anyway, the only reason I'm not doing edits here is because I want you guys to see real time how long this actually takes to do. Because I don't think it's too bad. You know, doing a whole paint job. Pretty cool looking paint job, I think, in like half an hour. Isn't too shabby. So I'm going around here and I'm looking at spots that I may have put on a little too much, and I'm going to redistribute that stuff into areas that don't have enough. Again, you check it against the light, you find something reflective, and the angle that I'm seeing this is different than the angle you're seeing this. So I look around, find spots that I might have missed, and as you can tell, I don't have any rhyme or reason when I do things like this. I'm not good at just doing things the same each time. Like if I did 20 of these helmets, I would do every single one of them differently, as far as just like where I started and where I ended. It's just how my brain works, guys. Some people would be really methodical, and they'd start on this cheek, and then they'd go to the nose, and then back and forth around each helmet. But I would be instantly bored as all get out doing it that way. There's nothing wrong with it. If that's how you like to work, then awesome. But for me, I get bored really, really quick if something is repetitive. So, change it up. Again, guys, I'm sorry I'm rambling here. I'm trying to keep the sucker real time so you can see the whole thing. So now I'm just checking to see if there are spots that either need some or have too much. If they have too much, I just brush it into an area that needs a little bit more. So a little blob there. The inside of the eyes. So this is where we're at now. It should look about like this when it dries. I think that's pretty cool for, what is this? I just hit 34 minutes, so I'm going to say roughly half an hour for this. I don't know how long I rambled before I started. But, yeah, half hour. Minus the 2 base coats, which was like black base coat and a brown. And assembling the helmet, all that crap. So, there it is. Bronze helmet tutorial number 1. I'll probably do some different types of bronze in the future so you guys can see them, because I like the different metal looks. But I think this one came out pretty good. Hopefully there's some rhyme and reason to how I came up with this type of method with the brown. I don't even know. But, alright kids. I gotta get back to this. It is probably 3 in the morning right now. So, whew, I'm getting out of here. Gotta finish this stuff up. It's gonna be an all-nighter. Alright kids. See you soon. Thanks for stopping by. I'll be back with something else in the near future. Later! Hey guys, welcome back. Ignore that helicopter outside. It won't go away. It must be cops. But today, we are going to go over how to make a Stormtrooper helmet, another Stormtrooper helmet, look... Wait, the helicopter's really close. What the fuck? Boy, that was crazy. It was flying. It was like right over my house. It was creepy. Anyway,